Welcome to Chat and Shit, the podcast that's technically about gut health, but who knows what pan the chat will end up in. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Alana. After a life of cabbage soup diets, energy drinks, and travelling the world as DJs,
we volunteered for medical research.
We sent off loads of poo samples and found out that despite being identical twins, our guts are completely different.
Basically the same as strangers.
We also learned that gut health is serious stuff and linked to pretty much everything from mental health to immunity.
When we first started on our journey, our favourite thing to do was to take the experts and scientists out for pints to pick their brains about the latest findings.
So we thought we'd do that again with some of our celeb pals so they can ask the top experts in the world anything they like.
Literally anything. This is Chat and Shit. So today we're going to be exploring gut health from the inside out. There's nothing you can't do, Lauren. DJ, presenter, author, journalist.
I love it all.
She'll have it all. You've got specific questions about wine and gut health, which we'll get onto. And we've paired her up like a good glass of wine and a cheese board with Emma Wedgewood. We'd like to just preface this by saying we've asked Emma a squillion questions on aesthetics before we turned the mics on. So if she sounds tired and weary, it's because we've bombarded her with our round harvest moon faces and what we can do. But Lauren, did you know that your gut health was linked to your skin?
Well, yes and no. I think when you're like a 12-year-old girl, you quickly learn about how you're supposed to look. And one of those immediate messages early on is, don't eat junk food, it'll give you spots. But really that's the extent of where I got to. And I also love junk food. So I actively opted to ignore that advice for my whole life thus far. So yeah, sort of no, but I think there's probably a lot more to it that I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it's just knowing the mechanisms, isn't it, Emma? Like, we don't actually know how, unless we've got A-level biology, how what we eat could actually affect our skin. Like, do you find that, clients and patients that you see just have no clue that they're linked?
Yeah, no, it's really, this microbiome for the skin is actually quite a new subject to us as professionals as well. So probably in the last 7 to 10 years that we're talking about it. So it's not surprising that the general public really don't understand it that well either. And we're still trying to learn a lot about that specific subject because we know a bit more about the gut microbiome. We're pretty sure they're linked, but we don't know how to the skin microbiome and to mental health as well. So there's still a lot of research taking place, but they're kind of siloed. So there's gut health taking place, skin biome health, research taking place, but they're not looking at how they're interconnected. So we're still trying to figure that out, but we're pretty sure there is a strong link for sure.
And I think things like, how our gut health is actually linked to our skin, like acne, for example. Like, how is it even connected?
Yeah, so touching on your point that you just made a moment ago, Lauren, is that we know that eating, bad foods, what I mean by bad food is, eating food that isn't necessarily nutritionally valuable to your skin consistently is going to be not great for your skin condition, a bit like anything really. If you have a slice of cake or a slice of pizza, then it's not going to probably cause you too much trouble. You're not going to have, you're not going to find that you're going to suddenly break out with acne or something like that. But conversely, if you're eating a terrible diet, then you probably will find that you will have some manifestations of some kind of skin diseases or skin conditions that might be rosacea, acne, eczema, any of those, because you're getting this inflammatory response when you're feeding your skin foods that aren't or that are inflammatory. Your skin will become inflamed, and that sparks off a mechanism that will then it's to do with how your bacteria and your microbiome is a colony of lots of different good and bad bacteria, and if you disturb that by eating constantly the wrong type of foods, then you'll get in one area too much bad bacteria, which can then give you a spot or a rosacea or something like that.
Right. And do you, anecdotally, have you found that when you have junk food, your skin gets worse?
I think that only in the last couple of years I've really started to really pay attention to my diet. And
your skin's looking absolutely glowing.
Yeah. It's just a good foundation, girls. We're in a good spot at the minute. And obviously the problem with skin is lots of things can come into it, can't it? I know if I've got a hereditary kind of element in mine. I know that certain face washes and face creams and stuff can kind of play up. So it's hard to give the diet skin link the attention it needs when you've got these kind of other elements kind of coming in. But recently I've really tried to lock into thinking about what I'm eating and thinking about what my skin is doing this week. And like I mentioned before, if it's been one of those weeks where I've been out loads and I've had a KFC and then I've had a few glasses of wine that evening, I can now time it and be like, in 3 days' time, it'll all start to kind of break out around my chin mainly.
Yeah, because is it true that thing of like where you get spots depends on different... Remember, you still have all those things like if it's hormonal, they come up in one place and like food's in another place. And
yeah, there is some evidence to suggest that there are different areas of the skin or the face, that will be affected depending on whereabouts that is being the source of that spot is coming from. But some people will find that most people will find that it's down the sort of middle part of their face. It's that central T-zone area because that's more oily, because it's the oil that's helping to contribute to that spot formation and that breakout. And then along the jawline tends to be another sort of culprit area. And that's generally, people talk about that being related to your hormones, your period, and in menopause. And certainly myself, I experienced when I first entered menopause, I had lots of cystic nodules along my jawline, and I had to do various things to obviously overcome that. So yes, that there is some truth and evidence in that.
Yeah, Alana's got a wee pal from her period today.
Literally, this is it just popped up for the special, the skin special, say hello. But genuinely, like we have both always suffered really badly with acne, especially Lisa as a teenager. Then I took the baton in our 20s, and anecdotally, since starting the gut stuff and looking after my gut health, I really do. It's a rarity now to get a spot, and then they come like this. But I actually have.
Where are we looking here?
Exactly, you've covered it quite well.
Oh, no, you've done a good job on that.
Concealer. What concealer's that?
Vive.
Nice. Yeah. Good job there.
Hydration concealer, very good. But I have had a tough week in lots of different aspects, and then it just sort of, and it's one of those under the skin, oily type.
I've got that one there, and he's been there for months. I'm
I'm
gonna say months. He just loves it.
What is the best thing to put on a spot when, obviously, like eating lots of water, eating well?
Yeah, I was going to say, is that true water?
So, I mean, look, drinking water to be hydrated is a good thing. That's always going to be beneficial to your skin, and that's good for the aging and wrinkles and any kind of fine lines. It will help plump those out. If you've got hydrated skin, you're going to get that plump, voluminous effect and glow. But drinking lots and lots of water isn't just going to give you good skin either. Like there'll come a point where you'll be like, oh, I'm hydrated, but that isn't necessarily going to give you a glow. That will come from what you eat, what products you apply, what treatments you do in clinic, all of that other stuff, how fit you are, are you going in and out of hot weather or air conditioning? All of that sort of thing will have an effect. So it's not just the water.
I think that is in general with wellbeing, and what we found with gut health, it's like you have to go on a bit of a fact-finding mission, and try things out, and have things and don't have things, and because it's so multifactorial skin as well, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. There's lots of components to it, and I think, like you just said, it's very much like the gut health stuff. It's all about moderation. It's like you can't never have something, but conversely, you can't always do bad stuff either, because you will see the effects.
That's my problem, moderation. It is a real issue for me, because do you know what? I'll have 3 weeks, I'll be quite good, and then if I have that one takeaway, my head just goes in and go, I want another takeaway.
Yeah,
it's because your microbes are telling you.
They are
like a triple delivery.
Like that's what you've given them. You're feeding the ones that like whatever takeaway you've had, and then they tell your brain, give me more.
Yeah, no, I did double delivery the other day, and I was like,
I've not done that for a long time. Like, you're so hungover, we were just like,
naughty.
Egg slut, then pizza, then like pizza, and then like curry.
Stunning then. What a day.
Stop it, stunning. What a day. Then you have a baby and that goes out the window. What is your alcohol when you drink? So what is the...
Okay, but what we're learning about me today is that I'm an all or nothing kind of girl.
Okay,
I don't drink in the week.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, we don't really have much booze in the house. To be honest, we're not like one of those that needs a glass of wine on like an evening. But if I go out, girls, I'm out till 6 a.m.
Yes,
okay, like
girl.
I go hard. So that's the thing, like, and that's been really useful for my skin actually, because what I've realised is like I know if I'm going to have a hard weekend. That's when my skin will flare up. So I can see this very definite link between alcohol and my acne flaring up. Whereas when I was at university, I used to just drink all the time, consistently pissed.
And you're 19 and your body just goes, yep, got it, no problem.
That's fine. I couldn't really make those links because I didn't have that sort of point of difference. Whereas now, I know that wine's going to have an effect. I can just see it straight away.
What is it in wine that gives it like...
So there's a few things happening when we drink alcohol. So one of them is that you don't get good quality sleep. So, you know, you might pass out initially, but then you're, then you come out of that pass out phase, and then your REM sleep isn't particularly good quality. So you're tired. So you can look, you get dark circles under the eyes. You look sallow. Your skin hasn't repaired itself during the nighttime like it normally would, because that's when we get all the regenerative effects for the whole of our body is during the nighttime, that when we sleep. That's why we're always talking about getting that 7-8 hours of sleep every night. And then, of course, you're dehydrated. You've massively drank a lot of alcohol. I don't know how much in your case, but, you know, you're drinking a lot. And
lots of Negronis.
So that dehydration process, it knocks off the pH balance of your microbiome as well, and that has an effect. And then you've got the inflammatory response that's happening. It's trying to sort of calm it all down. So there's lots of sort of busy things happening as well, trying to sort of get that equilibrium back to where it normally is. So yeah, it's a combination of different things going on with the alcohol.
So what can we do? Like, because we are like you, Lauren, you know, we're not angels. We like, especially with the festive season coming up, you know, I'm starting to pant. I think I'm out nearly every night next week, and I'm honestly starting to panic about it.
You start to dread it.
I've got anxiety about
water. I'm like, every time coconut water's on offer, I'm like, come on, we need that for December.
But is there anything we can do for our skin to you know, like set us up for it, or B, if we do have a breakout, what can we put on it, or you know, eat or drink to help?
Yeah, so one of the things you can do, and it's difficult, I know, when you've had a few glasses of wine, is to always remove your makeup and cleanse your face at night. How are you? Oh,
I sometimes like to have a full shower when I'm pissed.
Oh, wow.
Tell me they do this.
It makes you feel really good.
Repenting your sins of the night out. Just like,
just purge out the sin, and then you get to bed. And also, it means the next day you don't wake up with that sweaty smell in your bed. That means you don't have to wash your covers the next day.
Okay.
Smart.
Do you? And I was always told, and I always, if I'm, you know, especially when we used to gig, or now if we're at the hotels or staying at someone else's house or that, I always use wipes because I can't be bothered taking my big micellar water. That they're a no-no, aren't they?
God,
Like, I know they're wrong. I'm 36. I know they're wrong.
You're listening audio, Emma literally just
Shuddered.
Yeah. No.
What should we take our makeup off with?
So ideally, you can start with a micellar water is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But the thing with the micellar water is it's detergent based, so it's just soap. So then you need to follow it up with something that removes the soap. So the micellar water is removing your SPF and your makeup. So that's like
Is that why it
step
feels
one.
a bit squeaky?
Correct. Yeah. So and that will leave you dry if you don't then wash the micellar water off. So then one is to remove.
She's living a lie, Lisa.
So one is to just remove your makeup and your SPF. Then the next step is to actually wash your face. So that's
What
why.
with? I could try a cleanser.
Then use a cleanser of your choice, the one that you like. I use CeraVe.
Yes, that's what I use.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
It's a really nice price point, but it's really easy. And also, you don't have to spend a lot of money on cleansers because you've only got them on your skin for 30 seconds.
This oily one, because Annabelle and our team, we were staying overnight at a work thing, and she brought this oil thing, and I was like, oh, what happens with this?
Yeah.
And she's like, you just put it on, and then it's a cleanser as well.
Yeah. So I use a balm. I like an oil balm because it takes everything off.
Would that be good for us with the acne?
I was going to say, I've always avoided them because I'm worried about, like you said, anything oily in there.
I was to say, and you wouldn't want to use anything oily based and leave it on, but to remove your makeup is fine, because I'm also very acne prone, and I take medication and various things to keep that under control. So I'm also really cautious with using oil based products, but actually as a cleanser, it's absolutely fine because you're emulsifying and then breaking down, because formulations now in makeup are really good because they're designed to stay on the skin really well. That used to be sort of, Hollywood days just for sort of actresses, but now we've got it in the high street. So that quick makeup wipe or that quick cleanser isn't going to remove it all. So breaking it down and then washing your face is best practice.
Like this double cleansing, everyone says
Yes,
double cleansing.
that's
So you
exactly
do that.
Yeah.
And then get rid of it.
Yeah.
With like a different cleanser.
Yes. Like I said, I use the CeraVe salicylic one, but you could use, gentler one if you find that too harsh. In the morning, I use a gentle cleanser because I don't want to over cleanse my face either. I don't want to be too harsh and overdoing it, because obviously it's got a salicylic acid is an exfoliating acid in there, so you don't want to. But it is good in the night time to get rid of everything.
Yeah, and I like just going to bed when it's all off.
Yeah.
It feels like it's all off. You feel clean.
Yeah.
It's like a ritual.
Is there anything we can eat, like in the morning or before? I mean, just
We have to line our
salmon.
tummies.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, lining the tummies. I mean, that has been talked about a lot over the years, and I think there's something in that because it's to do with the half-life of the alcohol and how long that stays in your body. But there comes a point when it doesn't really matter anymore. So
If you're having 40 vodkas, you're having
exactly,
40.
exactly. It's like so,
Ain't nothing going to help you, honey.
So, there are certain things, but also staying hydrated. There's the whole myth around, well, I don't know if it's a myth, but there's a whole, sort of concept or idea that if you have water and then you sort of alternate water and alcohol, some people talk about that is quite useful because you're still staying hydrated.
I mean,
But
fair play to the people that do
I
that.
that's the
always
thing,
say I'm
it's
going
like-
to do it as well, especially if I've got work the next day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have one and then I'll have a glass of water.
Or I
Do
can
you
make
It'd be
reckon?
like when you're on the
Everyone
booze
does
train. It'd be like stopping off at every stop and getting back on the train. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So, and then obviously eating foods that are, that are going to give you, if you're going to line your gut, then, you might do something that's full of carbohydrates. It's going to sort of, in that way again of soaking up the alcohol sort of idea. But it's just eat healthy. Do something healthy before you
The
go
other thing
out.
as well is on the weekend I went out, I had my like 10 Negronis or whatever it was, and then I got back kind of early enough that I could order a KFC, right? Stunning. But what I realised is KFC is so full of salt.
Yeah.
There is so much salt.
Yeah.
I was like a prune.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m. I woke up and I was like,
I dream of orange fountains, like a fountain of orange juice. I literally wake up and I'm like, give me the orange juice
Give me
fountain,
something,
and then I'm
yeah.
like this like tiny little water beside my bed, like oh.
Yeah.
But the problem is as well when you wake up from being when you're hungover, your brain tells you, and it's to do with your microbes, isn't it?
Yeah.
To go for the junk food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go for the sugar, to go for the junk food, which is not going to help your skin either.
you've had one bad day of boozing and maybe a takeaway. So then the next day, then you want junk food again.
Yeah.
So you kind of had a double whammy then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you could have, like your hangover food? Like, is there anything else that would be better to eat than reaching for another takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we crave that, don't we? We want the carbs, the starch, the sugar. I mean, my sort of absolute hangover cure used to be a full fat Coke and salt and vinegar crisps.
McCoy's.
Nice.
It just felt like the
Discos.
best, Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
But it's
yeah.
probably the worst thing for you. But trying to get some fibre and some protein back into the body is the best thing to be doing. It's not necessarily what you want, but if you can get that, particularly if you can eat protein first thing, that's going to help try and balance you back out again.
Eggs and avocado, I always think.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
avocado,
Yeah.
good fats.
It's a good one.
I like a poke bowl when I'm hungover.
Yeah,
What? Yeah.
Poke bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
Like
very
that,
healthy.
I didn't even know this about you. Who are you?
But I think it's hard, isn't it? When it comes to gut health, it is very hard to measure. We get that question all the time. Have I got good or bad gut health? And we don't really know yet what a good or bad gut looks like. But I think your skin can give you, obviously your poo can give you a really good indicator, but your skin can as well. And I remember on Know Your Shit on the TV show, we had a guy come in, he had really bad psoriasis. To the point where mentally it was really difficult for him because he covered up lots, but it was also extremely sore. And it turned out he was actually celiac.
Okay.
His body was trying to tell him,
Yeah.
physically trying to
Something's
tell
got
him.
going on.
Yeah.
But those links between gut and other sorts of skin health, like rosacea as well as another one, and psoriasis, just sort of blew my mind because actually that is, the definition of inside out. And I think not a lot of people know that link.
Definitely, and I think it comes back to that point I made before, is that we strongly suspect there is a big link between the gut and the skin, but we haven't studied it. We have started doing some sequencing studies looking at the DNA and the RNA strands specifically to see what the good and the bad bacteria is and what that's doing. Because often when we talk about bad microbiome, we're talking about too much of a particular bacteria in a particular area. So if you think about eczema or psoriasis, eczema you will find will be in the folds of the skin, so in the arms or around the eyes where you get crinkling there, and that's because that particular bacteria will come and cluster in those areas, and they will disrupt the microbiome and the skin barrier in such a way with the inflammation that's causing that to be dominant in those areas, and they're very specific to that kind of condition or that particular disease.
Yeah, because my husband's eczema is, I mean, he's like a rhino's husk. Like, he's like, and my son's now got it. Thanks to him. But we thought there was a link between dairy and his eczema, and a lot of people say like dairy and acne. I mean, TikTok has a lot of nonsense about that. Is there links to like certain food groups, like dairy and acne or eczema?
There's more and more evidence emerging around refined sugar and links to acne. That seems to be something that we're seeing some substantial cases of. The evidence for dairy isn't quite there, and certainly not in the, if you do research literature, if you have a look. But anecdotally, we know a lot of people talk about it. We know people come in and say, I know when I eat cheese, or I know when I eat, lots of milk, or whatever it might be, that this happens. So we know that clinically that doesn't necessarily translate from what the research is telling us. Okay. But yeah, so there are definitely links to what people eat and what they experience and how that manifests in their skin and their gut.
See, I'm dreading the day that they do confirm a link between dairy and acne, because that will be my cheese consumption over. Yeah. And I generally don't know if I could give it up.
No.
I think I would rather take a poorly face than give up cheese. Refined sugars, that'd be okay. I can work with that. I think I can get
Apart from finding on your period. Women are incredible, right?
Yeah.
They are incredible. Obviously, that's my favourite tagline. But women are incredible. But the fact that our hormones, obviously when our period, we crave chocolate. Like, I know I have a chocolate fountain when I'm doing my period that replaces the orange juice fountain. And then, the hormones plus the chocolate, the thing in our skin, like, it's not fair.
No, it's not fair. And in fact, they look at when men and women try and diet, or they try and cut out sugar specifically, and men really struggle to get on board and do it. They're like, I can't do it. And there's lots of sort of, I don't want to say failings, but there's lots of attempts at trying to get, or to stop eating a lot of sugar. Whereas women, but then when men get it, they get it. They're like, okay, I'm fine. And they don't have anything hormonally to disrupt them. Once they get on the sort of non-sugar train, they're off. Whereas women, and this is generalised, of course, tend to, we get on straight away. We're like, okay, I'm going to do this. But our periods and the spike in how things change on that monthly cyclical basis means that we often fall off, and we need that. We need that sugar. We like craving it, and so we will then find ourselves giving into that craving, eating the sugar, and then we're starting back at day one again. So it's a really hard battle for women.
And with like longer term, like, we have periods when we go through puberty, then, if you do have kids, pregnancy, then not sleeping forever, then menopause, and like we're constantly having to relearn about our bodies. Yeah. And I think skin is just such an example of that. Like, that's why as like women, we talk about it a lot. We share anecdotally a lot with friends and what works for you at this time, because our bodies are constantly changing, and that's difficult.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we're learning about it all the time, and we're finding out, and also don't forget, as we change and go through the years, what was working then or not affecting us then might now be affecting us. So, going back to the dairy and the sugar examples, it might be that you could eat dairy and sugar and be, absolutely skipping off into the sunset until you're 33 years old. And suddenly, now you find that when you have cheese, for example, that is actually having an effect on your skin, and you're finding you're breaking out, or you're red, or something like that. So there are those kind of changes just as you're aging, as well as your hormones and babies and all these other things that we're facing as women. Yeah.
And I think like antibiotics is another thing, because a lot of people get put on antibiotics for acne, don't they? But then that can disrupt your gut microbiome, and that's another vicious cycle.
It is. And so generally speaking, with the antibiotics that you're using for acne, they tend to be lower dose, because they're on so it's what we call subtherapeutic levels, because you're using it for a longer period of time, up to 3 months. The guidelines are that you don't use it for longer than 3 months, because you don't want to be disrupting your gut biome, but also the skin biome as well. Like you say, it's not good to be on prolonged antibiotic use. The idea of the antibiotic use is that it will take down the inflammation. People think it's going to clear the spot itself. It's going to get rid of the bacteria that the spot has. It's not that. It's taking down that inflammation. And we do that because we're really trying to prevent somebody getting scarring, that sort of thing. And then we use other modalities to treat the actual spot or the acne itself.
I did get put on antibiotics once for my skin, and I thought, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And my skin was so clear, and I loved it. But then as soon as you learn, well, this isn't like a long-term solution, it's really frustrating, because you're like, well, you've just sort of treated the the symptoms that you can see on your face. But actually, it'd be so much more useful if when you went, for example, to your doctor or your GP, that you could actually learn about like what could be causing this rather than just being banged on the tablets.
Yeah.
Because now I love the idea of being on those tablets, but I know I can't have them.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting as well. I think we know more about, I know it sounds really basic, but actually good skincare really does have an effect. I think we used to think that it was very, well, I certainly did, I think it's a bit mumbo jumbo, marketing BS, but actually if you have targeted ingredients for your skin and your skin type specifically, it can be really effective. So it's getting that sort of, down, if you like, at the beginning.
On that, Lauren, like, what is your skincare routine just now? Like, we know you cleanse every night.
Well, no, I'm really, really good now. I mean, I was like the baby wipes person in my early 20s and then quickly learned that you just can't get by on it, and it's been like a battle like over the years because it's not severe acne. I'm lucky enough that it's not severe acne, and people really go through it and they need a lot of medical assistance. I didn't really get that much help honestly off of the NHS because it was quite mild, so I had to find other routes to kind of manage it. I actually went during lockdown, I spoke to like a private dermatologist and they put me on a routine. Oh my God, it stripped my face. I don't know if it was the wrong thing or whatever, but it stripped my face, completely destroyed my skin barrier. So after then I had to go really back to basics, like back to like what we're eating, what are we drinking, and what products we're using. Strip that all back to the very bare minimum. And then now I've finally been able to get my skin in a good enough place where I can go onto like a medicated skin regime. Mine's the Abaji system, which is essentially, I can never say the word, salicylic acid.
Salicylic acid.
Yes, that's the one. Like a benzoyl peroxide kind of treatment.
I used to use that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's bringing back memes.
That's old. Do you remember you could get like that from Boots?
Yeah,
you still can.
And you still can. And I tried these ones. This one is a more potent version.
Okay.
So it hits a bit harder. So it kind of helps a lot around that. And yeah, just try. And then a retinoid.
Retinol. What does a retinol actually do? Because everyone else says, oh, it's for wrinkles and all that. I'm like, surely it doesn't touch the sides.
No, it does. It's actually the only ingredient in skincare that has substantial evidence to support it as an effective ingredient in your skincare. So it does a number of things. And so it's kind of like your hero product. So I always think that everybody should be on a retinol if possible. Now, it might be a different kind of retinol for somebody who's got sensitive skins. They might have to have a lower potency and use it less frequently, but it's something that's beneficial to all because it increases your cell turnover. So what that means is that your cells are on a monthly basis hanging around for like 28 days. As you get a bit older, they hang on a bit longer. That's where you get that dull, lackluster appearance. So what the retinol does is make sure that they're coming off in that 28-day cycle. So it keeps things bright, but it also improves the collagen and elastin production. So it physically does that over a longer period of time. So you get less lines, wrinkles, better quality skin. And with the acne, the reason it's so beneficial there is because it actually, your sebaceous glands are secreting oil. And so you have three things that have a spot. So you need oil, you need hormones, and you need skin debris such as dead skin cells. So if you take one of those things out of the equation, then you're less likely to get spot formation. So what the tretinoin or retinol will do is stop the sebaceous glands from producing as much oil. So you've reduced your oil. So therefore, your future skin is not going to be as oily and therefore not as breakout prone.
And I have noticed that, like, just generally the oil seems to have come down. I still get oily.
Yeah.
I'm probably shiny now.
Yeah, but it's a glow.
It's a glow. We'll call it a glow. But yeah, it has. It really has sort of like brought that down, and I think I get a lot less. I still get spots. That's the thing. And there's this thing in your head where you have to go. You're still going to get spots if you're acne prone. Like you're not going to have this perfect Hailey Bieber skin. But it's definitely better.
Yeah, and it's just managing it and understanding. And sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error to get to the sweet spot about what's good for you, what works for you. And we have to sort of go through different regimens, different products to find what is really targeting your skin concern. And in our case, all four of us, by the sounds of it, is acne and oily skin. So it's really working out where is enough not too much. And that's just trial and error. That is just saying, okay, these are the products that I know are good, and then working out how often you do what and what you like, you know, because you'll know sometimes you push the skin, and I do it sometimes. I'm like retinol 7 nights a week, and then I'm like, oh, I'm a bit dry, a bit kind of, you know, I'm like, okay, and that's my skin barrier basically that's been disrupted, it's compromised. So then I go, okay, now I need to step back a little bit, so I'll come off the retinol for a couple of nights, everything settles back down again. So it's just a sign, you know, like we talk about listen to our bodies, that's the classic sign of saying, oh, you've pushed it too far, we just need to kind of bring it back into check again.
On that note of like trying things, this is where food was so difficult. I obviously tried coming off of dairy for a time, but because you've got that, like you're saying, like a 28-day turnover of skin cells, you have to really come off of a certain product of food for a long time before you might even possibly see the difference to your skin. I did that with dairy, and I did it like with wheat, and I was like, this is so frustrating because I'm sure there's something going on with what I'm eating here, but it's so hard to prove it because you've got to wait. You don't see like instantaneous results.
Yeah, it's true. And sometimes as well, we talk about not necessarily excluding complete food groups like dairy. It's back to that sort of mantra of not eating only cheese all day long, but you know,
damn.
I know, right? Christmas is coming as well. But you know, just not using it, but eating it in sort of moderate amounts. You were saying you weren't very good at you know, moderating. Same. So it's really down to sort of trying to you know, but excluding it completely might not necessarily be the answer, but not overindulging might help inhibit that breakout.
But the quick fix or like the test, because the elimination diet is the gold standard, isn't it, for seeing if you've got any sort of intolerance or allergy. And I think we are bombarded online with these kind of bullshit IG intolerance tests that are nonsense when you're looking for that. And I mean, I was on Roaccutane, and I've never had a spot since. Like I'd had it when I was like 22, and I just haven't.
That's amazing.
Saying that, I might just yours might rub off on me. But
Pretty sure you have.
Like,
no, that's 14 years.
Well, not a big one, you bitch. This is why I don't work with your sister or animals, honestly. But yeah, that's tempting. I think things like collagen drinks and these sort of quick fixes that are going to transform.
Yes.
What?
I've got a
is there any
fridge full of
evidence?
collagen drinks that was given to me by a dermatologist. They taste horrible.
And collagen's big in the gut health world, and it's big in the gut health world hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to bust the collagen myth.
There's a lot of bad collagen stuff out there. There's a lot of really bad, over-marketed rubbish that, you know, is not going to do anything at all. But there is actually some evidence now. There was a meta-study done in 21 about the benefits, and they concluded, and they looked at loads of different studies, and they concluded that there are benefits to lines, wrinkles, skin quality, rosacea, etc. So they are seeing an improvement. Obviously, everyone's going to have a different degree of that, these are observational studies. So these are people that are sort of reporting that this has happened, rather than looking at metrics and measuring it and comparatively doing it that way, or split face type studies. So they're a little bit more going on what people are telling you, but still, that is telling us that people think that it is definitely worth doing. So I think the key to doing collagen is use a product that is has got some clinical science behind it, some data to support it as being effective, not something that you walk into a high street shop that's probably full of fillers and not particularly good quality ingredients either, but it's actually something that's going to be bioavailability as well. That's important when you're doing something. But you know, they also, a lot of them taste a bit rubbish. I mean, they're not the nicest things.
It's like, basically, if you drink it really, really cold, it's almost like a peachy iced tea flavour. If you let that shit get warm, it's heinous, and it's quite thick. It's quite
viscous,
a little viscous. I've had them in my fridge now for about 3 years. They've probably gone off, to be honest. My other half's like, can we please get rid of them? I'm like, no, they're really expensive.
Actually, I might try it. Save some for me.
I'll bring you one.
Should we be drinking it? Should we be putting it on our skin? Should we have it in tablet form? Should we be shoving it up our bum?
Yeah.
How should we?
Wow, she's gone there. I thought we were going to avoid poo chat for one episode, but no, we are.
Got to be slipped in.
There's no point in putting it on your face. You'll see lots of products, collagen inside this particular moisturizer. It's not really doing anything. It's just a marketing tool for you or anybody to sort of think, yeah, that's going to be beneficial. there's a few brands that I quite like. If I were to say to people, with my patients, I talk about them going on to collagen, but there's specific ones that I know and that I like and that I trust, and they come in different forms. So one of them is a liquid, one of them is a powder, and you put it into your matcha tea, or you put it into your smoothie in the morning, and then that doesn't taste. Yeah, you put it into your wine, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thick wine.
Really oh my God, there's a product. You're on the same girls. You're on the
Guys.
And there's some tablet formulations as well that are being found to be quite clinically effective as well. But it's finding the right ones. That's the key to it. So there's platforms actually out there. There's one that springs to mind called W Wellness, where they have done all of this for you. So you go. And, they'll say, yes, say you want a collagen supplement, and they have 5, but they're 5 good ones. They're not anything that you think, I'm not really sure, you're buying on Instagram. I mean, I'm a sucker for buying things on Instagram and then getting it and going, oh, God, this is terrible. So, you avoid all of those mistakes because somebody has done the hard work for you and done the actual research.
And we, obviously, in the gut health world, shout from the rooftops about bone broth quite a lot, which has collagen. Would there be enough in bone broth, or has it got to be in supplement form, or does it again depend on, are you making the bone broth at home, are you buying it, all the rest of it? Because bone broth's got other qualities, not just for skin, but
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about collagen supplements, is that I'm finding that as I'm getting a bit older now, it's not necessarily that I'm taking them for my skin, because my skin's fairly good.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Very so amazing.
Thank you. So I'm not so worried about that, but I do notice that when I go to the gym, that I'm like, oh, my knee's a little bit and this is a little bit, So it's about taking the collagen to help with my body rather than my skin. I'm not sure that people see the dramatic results on the skin itself.
And Lauren, we do every week, we have a thing called Full of Shit, where we're able to ask our expert like a myth bust, or is there anything that you've fallen foul to or bought that you spent a lot of money on that you've later learned was bullshit, or anything that you'd like Emma to, I mean, skinny teas or any sort of tea that
for your skin. For your skin.
Green teas that say good for good skin.
Yeah. Skin, hair, nails.
Where they're coming from with those types of tea, is that it's the inflammation. So it's tackling that, because as you know from the gut, the same principles apply in the skin, that if you're inflamed, then you're more likely to be red, irritated, breakout prone, all of these different skin conditions. So it's about trying to keep that inflammation down. So that's really the sort of the idea behind it.
I have actually got something that me and my mother have always discussed. Bless him, he's losing his hair a bit, so he always talks about this. Do you think that celebrities that we see, rich people, have elite hair care, elite skincare that us plebs
absolutely
can't get our hands on? It's just not available to us. Do you know what I mean?
So
is that why they look so good?
Yeah. So, well, they've got endless budgets. So it's like they can do everything. So most people that within my practice are, they are selecting what they can do. They say, okay, Emma, this is my problem. This is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm concerned about. So what can I do? And we go, okay, let's sit down. If the budget was endless, I go, right, have all of these things. But that's not the reality. Most people can't afford to do everything, so we select them. Whereas your celebrities, they can afford to do everything. So they're having lasers, they're having injectables, they're having skincare, they're having all of the stuff. So that's why generally they look pretty tip top.
But do you think they've got a cleanser that costs £1,000?
No. But they might have a
do you
cleanser.
Think they're using CeraVe?
They might have a cleanser they might
using CeraVe.
They might have a cleanser that costs £1,000, but it's not doing any more than CeraVe.
Okay. Yeah.
So they might be spending that kind of money, but it's not necessarily doing more. And that's, there are certain brands out there. I see patients daily that come in and I say, okay, what skincare are you doing? Let's talk about it. And they go, I'm on and I go, ugh, instantly. And I know that it's marketing hype that they've bought into it, and they're really expensive brands, but they're not doing an awful lot. So there'll be people that are doing that, and there might be the equivalent version for celebrities, but I'd like to think I'd know about it because I'm pretty up on skincare brands. So I don't think they've got a little secret type of stash going on, but they will be using, something very targeted for them.
To be fair, if they did have a secret stash, then Donald Trump would look a lot better than he does. He'd be on a much better fake tab.
Here with like a bit more condition. We could ask you questions all day, I'm sure. Okay.
Are you wrapping up? Because I've got one more thing.
Oh God, Emma needs. She's got
sorry,
to say.
I've just got these ideas floating in my head. I know, but so we know that fibre helps our microbes produce short chain fatty acids, which helps with inflammation, reduce inflammation.
Like, fuck off! You're going to have a sciencey question.
If we eat fibre, is it going to improve our skin? Because in theory, it reduces inflammation, or is that a very loaded, complex question?
Well, it is, but it's also around, if we look at foods like broccoli, we know that, back in the day, you think about the supermodels, they ate chicken and broccoli, and there was a reason for that, because actually that was still good for their skin. They were eating, and that's got that anti-inflammatory component and the fibre in there. So yes, if you're eating foods that are giving you fibre and anti-inflammatory properties, then yes, that's going to be a good thing. But that's not to say that you can't have a piece of cake every now and then.
Yes, absolutely.
Life's for living, right?
Absolutely.
We bit broccoli on the side of your KFC.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Bring on the collagen Negronis.
As long as I can have a collagen Negroni alongside it as well.
So Emma, what is if you could take, I'm still reeling from the micellar water bombshell, quite frankly. If there's one thing you could tell the three of us to do for our skin, what would it be?
So ditch the wipes, as we know, because they're also bad for the environment. That's the other point about those. It's not just bad for your skin, they're bad for the environment. So I would just say get a skincare routine, talk to a professional about what is right for you. And it doesn't have to cost the earth. There are, skincare routines that will cost the earth, but you can get them at entry-level products as well. Mix them up with something that's really targeted. Get on a retinol. I always say to people, if I can do 3 ingredients, I would say retinol, SPF, and a vitamin C serum. If you can do those 3 things.
Vitamin C!
Yeah.
Okay.
Alana's just thought of 7 more questions.
Sorry, I'm going to keep shut.
She's so... Lauren, what's one thing that you're going to take away from today that you didn't know?
Well, sorry to be obvious, but I've always done moisturisers. Now I'm thinking a vitamin C serum would be the way forward. Because I'll be honest, I'd not bothered with serums. I was like, that's a whole new thing that I can't be asked to learn about.
What does vitamin C do?
If that's what you're saying is good.
Yeah, so vitamin C is an antioxidant, so it helps reduce the inflammation. So it's good for, and if you've had a spot, sometimes you get that redness hanging around. That's the pigmentation, the discoloration. So the spot goes, but actually you're left with a little bit of a mark, and this vitamin C will help with the discoloration. It takes it away quicker, because those red marks can last up to 6-9 months, something post having the injury from the spot itself. So that helps reduce that. It also, at low levels, but it's still, you've got to take it where you can, is my kind of theory. But at low levels, it will stimulate a bit of collagen elastin for you. If you've got pigmentation or anything like that, it helps even out the skin tone and brightens up your skin. So over a longer period of time, when you've been using it, you'll find that your skin's a bit brighter from it too. Yeah.
I think I'll also take away refined sugars. Because like you said, if there is that link there, that actual medical scientific link, it's probably worth paying attention to, as opposed to cheese, which has got no scientific link. So we're going to ignore that and eat loads and loads and loads of Baby Bell.
Let's meet again in a year's time and have cheese and Negronis.
Oh, stunning.
Okay, deal. Thank you both so much. Honestly, Emma, before we all chain ourselves to you, thank you. And Lauren, thank you so much for giving us a little insight into your KFC Negroni lifestyle.
Yeah, that is how you just sum me up. Yeah.
Did this got you excited? Join us on our 100 Days to Hack Your Gut Health programme. The link is in the bio. Come and find us on Instagram at The Gut Stuff. In fact, we're at The Gut Stuff pretty much everywhere. So hit subscribe. Your gut will thank you for it. Keep your shit together and have a gut day.